Hey everybody, welcome to StreamQuest. Here we are, second episode.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. Wow, deep voice. We're going to talk about what we watch, stream-wise or otherwise, and maybe jump off into some other scenarios. One of the kind of threads I want to get into tonight as we talk about some of the stuff that we're going to talk about, some of the shows we've watched, is to binge or not to binge. Like, as you're watching shows, do you binge shows or not? I know John has said that he likes to wait for stuff to drop and then watch the whole thing. I kind of understand that. But, as we talk about, let's, drop in if you binge it or not, okay? Sound good?
Well, I think it's interesting because binging used to be streaming. Like, that was the cool thing, is that you could watch everything at once. And I think, now it isn't, and we'll talk about it, but I think it actually pays to be discerning and to be thoughtful about that, depending on what you're watching. And it's interesting because there are shows which we'll talk about that, like, I want to burn through it. And there's other shows where I want to savor it. And there's other shows where if I do binge it, it was a bad choice.
I mean, but would you prefer to, I don't understand what, okay, we'll get, when Sopranos came out originally, this is HBO way back. I can't even remember the date that thing started. I religiously, I say this all the time, but I watched that every Sunday night when it dropped. Okay. And binging wasn't a thing then. Like I said, the first binge I ever did was Breaking Bad. And this was after it already aired. So I binged it, I think, on Netflix. That was my first true...
Right, that's where everybody discovered it, sure.
Right, spend the night binging, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then James Gandolfini dies. And I binged hours and hours and hours of The Sopranos just to get the vibe of James Gandolfini. I was honoring him by binging that show because by that time... Netflix allowed you to just I'm not Netflix, HBO. I mean, who came up with the idea that as soon as this episode's over, you can stay on, the next one starts right up? Was that Netflix?
Well, I don't think they invented the idea, but I remember when this happened to me with The Sopranos, with 6 Feet Under, and with Game of Thrones. I didn't watch the first season. Not on purpose, but I didn't watch the first season. I heard everybody talking about it, so I ended up saying, I'm going to check this out, and I watched... For all three of those shows, I watched the whole first season, 10 episodes, 12 episodes, whatever it was, before the second season premiered. So I got to binge a season and then go to week. And I found that was like a really exciting way to get into it. But then I enjoyed, especially shows like The Sopranos, everybody was talking about it. There's so much more to watch now. You can't say when we used to go to offices, you can't say I'm going to go to my office and everybody's going to be talking about WandaVision. A lot of people might have seen it, but a lot of other people might have seen 16 other shows. So it's not as unifying.
Yeah,
but
it was
I
more
think
what
the
they used
idea
to
of binging a TV show helps when the seasons are so much shorter.
Well, that's
I think Netflix was the first to put original programming where they would drop all the episodes for a season.
Oh, that may be.
You could binge watch past seasons of some shows, but they were the first ones who dropped original content. They don't even do it anymore, which is a bummer. A lot of people think it's a bummer because they want you back every week as opposed to watching everything all at once. So,
well, yeah, I got used to being able to binge new stuff, and then when Amazon's like, we're going to release The Boys, one new episode a week, it felt jarring. Yeah. It was like, please don't do that. Yeah. But now, some of them do it, like Disney Plus is definitely doing that with Mandalorian and their Marvel shows, and then Netflix will put out something and it's all right there. So it's there.
What do you think
I'm curious what makes them decide what to do.
I was just going to ask, what is the anti-binge? Why anti-binge? I don't understand. Everybody's eyes are still on it.
I don't think it's anti-binge. I think it's the. Listen, The Mandalorian. Okay, I couldn't wait. I watched each episode as it came out. I know, John, you waited and you watched the whole thing. I've never sat down and rewatched all of it at once because the episodes aren't that long. It's basically like watching a 3-hour movie, I guess. But it was exciting to have cliffhangers and wait till next week. It just was fun, and especially the second season, the way it ended with this big surprise character appearance, and it was really satisfying. It was really cool. I spent 2 months building up to that, and that was fun. So if you give me a choice, I'm always going to say make it available, even if I don't watch it all at once. I might want to watch 2 tonight. I might want to watch 7 tonight. Whatever. But it almost seems old-fashioned network TV style to do this once a week thing.
That's what I mean. It's like they've gone to network TV without the commercials. Although Hulu, like I signed up for Hulu because I wanted to watch. I wanted to watch Elementary, which I've talked about on the other show.
Sure.
And
Great show.
I couldn't stand the commercials. They had this deal where for $2, it was $2 a year for Hulu, but you had commercials. Well, I'm like, I don't want to watch this with commercials, so I paid another $10 to get rid of the commercials, and I watched 6 seasons of Elementary, 21 episodes each, in the span of, I don't know, probably took me about 2 weeks to do it. But I got to tell you, because I watched it when it was on network TV, and when you watch it the way I just watched it by binging it, you realize, and I didn't realize this when I watched the show on TV, how every episode was interconnected in that world. So, like, because I watched season 4 only a week ago, I remembered what happened in that first season that related directly to that 4th season. I'm like, I never remember that watching it when I was watching it every week. And like these shows that come out, like WandaVision, The Boys, it's hard to... I prefer watching them all at once. I don't want to wait 9 weeks to finish it. I want to watch them when they're all out. The problem is, like with some of the websites that I go on, the nerd websites, as Ralph will call them, they give spoilers, and you have to avoid. You got to avoid the spoilers. Now, it's not as difficult as it would be if I was working and being out with people all the time who would constantly be talking about it. So that's the one thing about being locked down a little bit that has helped. But I got to tell you, I started the first show I binge watched. I had shoulder surgery, so I was watching a lot of TV, and everyone told me to watch The Walking Dead, and I never watched it when it was on. So when I had my shoulder surgery, I binge watched the first 5 seasons, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And I was like, "Wow, I want to watch the next one." And it's midnight, right? And I'm going, you know what? I'll watch one more just to see what happens, and then 5 in the morning, you watched 2 seasons already. So for me, that's my first exposure to it, and it really spoiled me to watch these. I don't want to wait a week to find out what happens after the cliffhanger.
Right.
I want to know, if I can watch it that night. I mean, WandaVision was 9 episodes, so it didn't take long to watch all of them. But the thing, Drew and you and I talked about this. I didn't talk to anybody because I didn't want to. I wanted to be surprised, even though I waited for them all to drop.
See, it's interesting because you don't want to wait. You don't want to wait to watch them all together. But you don't, and this is not a criticism. This is, I understand why you're watching. You don't mind waiting 9 weeks.
That's right.
So that they're all available.
That's right.
And hopefully a show, an individual show is worth the wait. But I get that. And that whole Hulu with no ads is like the greatest thing ever that happened to streaming. Because you can watch their stuff and other stuff they've licensed and the network stuff that's on there. And to watch that all without ads is so much. It's worth the extra $2 a month.
Well, your hour TV show's gone to 43 minutes an episode.
Did you guys ever watch Portlandia, the Fred Armisen, Carrie Brownstein show?
Fred Armisen. What's the woman's name?
Great, Carrie Brownstein from Sleater-Kinney. She's a musician, comedian, just a wonderful actress, funny. But that show is a great show. But I think it was the first season, one of their first episodes that really made an impression. They played a couple that started watching Battlestar Galactica.
I saw that one.
And they couldn't stop watching it to the point where they lost their jobs and they didn't leave their house for 2 weeks and all this kind of stuff. And
they got pizza boxes all over the place.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that was an excellent show, period, and an excellent show to binge. But it was just that was one of those comedy things that you just look at it and you go, that's real. That's how we're living. And of course, we're living that all now in the past year of lockdown.
Yeah.
But it was great.
Well, I think we all thought the lockdown was going to be, we're going to binge all day long. Now, you talk about, like you said, you stay up till 5 a.m.
Yeah.
There was this Discovery series called Manhunter, where they would break down, like, the catching of the Unabomber or the Atlanta City bomber. And I finally caught that on Netflix. And that's like 10 episodes, 45 to an hour each. And once I hit the first one, I could not stop. And I started like 9 o'clock at night. And you're right. By the end of it, you're like, it's 5 a.m. I can't believe how much I didn't.
Well,
I
you're
just-
like, I'll watch one more.
I'll just go
you
one
look
more,
at the
'cause-
description. I'll watch one more.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, back in the day, we used to call it appointment TV. That's what The Sopranos was. You knew every Sunday night at 9
Right,
o'clock, I
right.
had to be home because I didn't want to
Right.
miss it first run. I didn't want to
Lost.
see a repeat.
Right.
Lost was
Right?
like that.
Now, The Boys, you mentioned The Boys. So I waited the first time to wait for it because I didn't know about it. So I found out about
Yeah.
it late. I waited, and I binged that one.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this thing's amazing.
Yeah.
When it came
Yep.
back, I couldn't wait. As much as I
Yeah,
wanted
no.
to wait,
I waited.
so I just couldn't do it.
I waited
It's,
too.
I want to.
I'm proud of
couldn't do it.
myself. I waited.
So
You
all
did.
right, well, that's-
Yeah, I mean, I just enjoy watching it that way. I just like you're into the story. You're seeing them one right after the other. I just
I
love
would
that.
listen.
I don't want to
but
wait.
I can't. I just couldn't wait.
Well,
It's
look,
amazing because
See, the other thing about streaming in general and the way that we all watch television now, and I'm really talking more about television and the idea of binging. The nice thing is that you can discover a show that you've never heard of that has 3 seasons already, or you can say I'll get around. Like there are, I mean, I know it seems weird, but there are people who've never watched Breaking Bad. If they want to start watching it now, they're in for a treat on Netflix, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
But
I've never watched it.
I think I mentioned this the last. You what? You've never watched it, or?
Nope.
you have never seen
Oh, you
Breaking
should.
Bad.
Oh, it's
I saw
excellent.
one
It's
episode,
really
the
excellent.
finale. I watched the finale.
You started there. Well, work backwards
Yep.
then. That'll be fun.
You can work backwards.
the only one I watched.
It's a great
My
show.
wife
but
Loves it.
The only
well, it does
listen,
have some prison in it. So
What was
That's-
that? What was that? What was the big HBO series? The dinosaurs or the Game of Thrones?
Watched
The only thing
one
I ever
episode.
watched on that was the Blood Wedding. That episode, the Blood Wedding.
the Red
I
Wedding,
watched
yeah.
one episode and I said I could not watch any more of these episodes.
That's amazing.
And everyone told me,
I mean, listen.
get past 5 of them and you'll really, really like it.
Oh,
But-
see, I don't agree that there are definitely shows where you're like, that first season's a little rough, whatever. Like Game of Thrones is what it is out of the gate. So if it wasn't for you, it wasn't for you.
Right away,
But I
yeah.
appreciated that show was 10 episodes of you. Once you see it, because I never read the books, I didn't know anything about it. Once you see it, then you know if it's for you or not. And that was one of the shows that I binged. My wife and I binged the first season right before the second season came out because everybody was talking about it, and we went. I think it was Memorial Day weekend or something. So you're home for an extra day anyway, and we went, oh my God, how did we not watch this? But it was really fun to watch it all at once. But what I was going to say about is another HBO thing. I think I mentioned it last episode. There's a show called The Great Pottery Throwdown. It's a competition to be the best potter in England.
You get
and
money
the
every
prize
time you
is a
say
ceramic
this.
trophy. Well, here's the thing. It is a wonderful show.
Okay.
Like, these people are really incredibly talented. They're not even competing for money. They're competing to be judged by these incredibly talented and famous potters that, of course, I've never heard of these ceramic artists. But the thing is, like, I watch the show, and it's so sweet and soothing and nice, and I want to keep watching it. But then I go, wait, I don't want it to be over yet. Let's watch one tonight. We'll watch one tomorrow.
Oh.
And it's so funny because there's shows I cannot stop watching. It's so awesome. And then this one, I want to stretch it out. And it is a continuing narrative. It's a reality show contest. So people get eliminated every week and the challenges get harder. And it is a narrative like that. But I think it's kind of nice when you find something and you go, I don't want to burn through this in a weekend because it's got 3
Yeah.
seasons. So I could have watched the whole thing in 2 days.
I will
really
say,
wanted to, but it's great.
since you said that, and I've talked about this on the other show, but again, when I watched Elementary, I remember that when I watched it on TV, I didn't really watch the last season as religiously as I watched the previous 5. So because I watched them all so close together, you felt, I want to word this right without sounding stupid, but you were so much more invested in the individual characters that the last scene when it ended and I realized there were no more episodes to watch, I was really bummed out about that because I was so
Sure.
into it. And I was like, wow, that's it. And it's not coming back and they're not going to make a movie or anything. And that bummed me out. In fact, I purposely waited to watch the last episode just so I'd have a little more time with it. It was really strange the way I did it. But it was
Well,
also, you're talking.
It's not a strange. it's not as strange as watching just the finale of Breaking Bad and then
Well,
being
that's
less
true.
than satisfied
Yeah,
with
well,
it. So
yeah, and everyone tells me I should watch that show too. And one of these days, I think I'll do that. But I'll tell you what I do like. Like WandaVision's only 9 episodes. Falcon and Winter Soldier's only 6. So
Okay.
I don't have to wait that long to watch them. But again,
Right.
those shows I just prefer. I just prefer to watch them all at once. And if I can watch them like Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'll be able to watch in one sitting, which is beautiful. Now, everyone says, well, Justice League was 4 hours long. How could you watch that? I just watched 130 episodes in about 2 weeks of Elementary. So 4 hours is like nothing for me. I
Yeah,
mean,
and if
come
you're
on.
at
Right.
home, there's, you're stuck at home. It's
And I got a 100-inch theater, so I mean,
oh
come on,
my
Ralph.
God. Oof, oof. I
Well,
fall
look,
asleep.
also
Ralph,
Elementary is the kind of show which is a really, and I like that show very much. I haven't watched all the seasons, but I love Lucy Liu, and I thought
Yeah.
she and Johnny Lee Miller were wonderful. It was a great,
Yeah.
it was a great show. Period. It was a great twist on it's one of those things. The BBC and all these other things. The more you know about Sherlock Holmes and the books and the stories, the more you see the original angles that these things take on it, and if that's fun and stuff. But that's a great example of a network show model that's really good because it is episodic. It does
Yeah.
have mysteries that are only one episode, and it has those continuing storylines.
The
And
thread.
It's written by you're right, and it's written by people who they seem to think it's important to know where both of those things are going at any given episode and any given moment in the season. Like when the people started writing Lost, they didn't know why there were polar bears and black smoke and all that
No.
kind of stuff, and,
No.
they
And
just
they
made it
lied.
up as
They
went.
lied to
Yeah,
everybody.
and they lied. They can do that you can do that if you want, but it's much more satisfying because endings are so hard. It's much more satisfying if
Yeah.
you believe
bad
you're in
endings
good
are really
hands the whole
hard,
time.
Drew. Bad endings are really hard, Drew. And that was a bad ending. I remember I had a friend over who was a Lost devotee, as I was. We watched the last episode, and when it was over, we spent 45 minutes afterwards talking about what the hell just happened.
Oh, I'll bet.
Everything they said wasn't going to happen freaking happened. I was so upset about it because I loved that show for such a long time. But they got lost because, to your point, they didn't know how they were going to end that. So they were making it up as they went along. But
It's okay it's okay if you don't know because you don't know how long you're going to be on the air. But if you have a
well, that's
mystery,
right.
It'd be nice if you knew what the solution was. You might not tell me. You might tell me in season 2, episode 4. You might wait till season 10. But it'd be nice if I believed that you knew why that character did that. That sort of thing.
But they said they had the whole
Lost,
thing
Ralph?
figured out.
I did not watch Lost. But I did
Yeah,
watch
well,
The
they didn't have it
Outsiders.
figured
Not
out.
The Outsiders, The Leftovers, which was Lindelof's thing he did on HBO. And that had...
I didn't see that. Was that good?
That didn't... I loved it. It didn't have...
It's
You're
amazing.
waiting for the big ending. You're waiting for the answers and got nothing. But that's okay. I was along
Well,
for the ride.
See, that's an interesting one because the first season is based on the book. And it's actually pretty faithful to the book, and it tells the story in the book. And the book, like the first season, it doesn't explain. Now we know why everybody disappeared or where they went and, what happened and all that kind of stuff. But the second and third season are the creation of Damon Lindelof and his writers. And they took it to all these other incredible places.
Yeah.
Like, that's a show I didn't watch. I watched the first season when it was on. I thought this is okay. I never went back to it. And then I had a number of different friends, individual people that don't know each other or anything. They all said in like a month, they were like, you should watch that show. You should watch those other 2 seasons. So I did. I binged them, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
It's
Beautiful
a good show. Now, I'll tell you what I'm getting frustrated by with the stream, with the how they're laying things out. And it has to do with documentaries, right? Mm-hmm. I like my documentaries 2 hours and under, and tell me what's going on in that 2 hours. And I know that true crime documentaries are huge right now. Saturday Night Live is spoofing it, so you know that everybody's watching these. I know Maria is watching. She watches them on TV. She listens to the podcast about what she just watched on TV. But I get frustrated when it's a documentary series. I just don't want to invest in a documentary series because I like my answers. I want to know in a doc what's going on. And I just watched on Netflix the last blockbuster in America.
Me
and
too.
It's 2 hours, and it's beautiful. I almost wept about that kind of media. About having they were literally breaking it down like you open the box and all the
Yep.
the Be Kind Rewind, all this stuff. But it was 2
Yep.
hours or an hour and a half. It did its story, and it was done. When you look at these
Yep.
series that happen, documentary series specifically, the pad that they have to do to get it to 6 episodes or 4 episodes is
Well,
just
did you see the
unrelenting.
McDonald's one?
Yes, and I liked it
What-
at first.
so did
and
I,
then
but
I
too
was
much
just like,
fill.
Right.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
watched
repetitive.
the first 2 episodes, and I said, I think I'm done because
It's
it's
repetitive.
just too much.
A
Well,
documentary
see,
should.
that whole thing, I want to know how the guy did it. And it took
Right.
forever to get there.
Yeah.
I think it was the last
Right.
episode, as a matter of fact. Did you watch Tiger King?
I did not.
Oh, my
Because
I
how
did.
many was in that? How many series? How many shows?
I think it was 8, wasn't it?
Yeah. See, I'm not going to
Well,
invest in a
here's
doc
the
like
thing,
that.
though.
Not
Oh
going to
my
do it.
God.
Tiger
It
King.
was
Tiger
good.
King is. I mean, it's a documentary, but it's not the same. It's not. Let me tell you the story of
No.
how this crazy thing happened. It's really about these completely lunatic people that are the characters. So that could have been 2 episodes. It could have been 20 episodes. People would have watched it and loved it. I mean, there's a reason that there's going to be a Nicolas Cage movie and like
Well,
all this.
that
other
friggin'
stuff
guy hit the
because-
jackpot. The multimedia guy they hired hit the friggin' jackpot
Oh,
with all
yeah.
that footage that he had. I mean, it was
Yeah, it's pretty
incredible, the
incredible.
footage. Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
Talk
Well,
about
Well, my
serendipity.
favorite of all those true crime things, I don't know if you guys watched it, because my wife is a very big fan of those types of things. I
Women
like some
love
of
this
them.
stuff. Why do women love the true crime? It's amazing. I'm not trying to
I don't know.
generalize, but that's what
Well,
Saturday Night
those are
Live.
like
watch-
prison
the whole,
movies.
the whole Saturday Night Live
Right, yeah,
thing
you
was
never
about
know.
women binging true crime stuff.
They love the murder. They love
Yeah,
the murder.
I
Did you guys
guess.
watch American? Did you guys watch American Vandal?
No, you mentioned
It
that
was
all the
a-
time.
No.
A
American
Netflix
Vandal?
series. Yeah, it's a Netflix series. It's got 2 seasons. The first season is gold, and the second season you would think they would blow it. It was also very good, but it's basically a true crime documentary. Somebody at the high school in this town drew dicks all over the teachers' cars. So the conceit is that these 2 students, they're like AV club students at this high school. They say, well, we're gonna find out who drew the dicks, and that's the big question: who drew the dicks? Who killed Laura Palmer? Who drew the dicks? And it hits every single one of the things that's familiar to you if you watch all these shows, and it's so funny and it's so smart. It also kind of put me off of wanting to watch more of these true crime documentaries. I was like, this
Because you
this
realize
spoof
how
is-
rote they
it
are. They
nailed
are
it.
just they
Yeah,
follow
exactly.
the same pattern. Same pattern.
Exactly.
And,
I would recommend American Vandal on Netflix, no question.
Well, look,
Absolutely
I will
fantastic.
watch. I'll
check that out.
binge. Alex Gibney,
Please
you know
do.
him. Alex Gibney did the
Yeah, sure.
Scientology.
Sure,
he
sure.
did the Enron. He does Lance.
I just
Armstrong.
watched his Totally Under Control about the response to the vaccine.
Yeah.
That's on Hulu. That was excellent.
Now, I'll
I think
binge
that, I
his
think that might
docs.
be up for an Oscar.
I hope so. I'll binge him 8 hours. Each doc, I'll just watch
Hmm.
them back to back. Because they all, like you're saying, Elementary is compartmentalized, right? Each episode has an arc and it's done, but they connect. There's a connective tissue
Right.
through the whole series or the whole season. Alex Gibney, I could binge that, but I will not watch. If I see a doc is more than 2 episodes, I don't even watch it. And it may be fantastic. I don't know, American Vandal, how many episodes?
I think it's 6 or 8.
Yeah,
But
see.
it's not a doc. It's a spoof
And it's
of
funny.
docs, and
I
that's
don't.
why it's so good.
It's like an investment thing. I don't want to invest. The
Oh, it's a
time in
spoof
that.
of a documentary?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the thing. It nails it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, a good mockumentary nails exactly what has to happen. So,
Right.
so anyway, that's like you talked about The Walking Dead, John. I was religiously. I watched the first 3 episodes of The Walking Dead, and then I
The
couldn't
Frank
watch
Darabont
another.
era.
I could not watch another frame of it because to me it was repetitive, and it was the
Yeah,
same
no.
story every time. And
That happened to me after Negan.
Yeah,
After
well,
that arc ended.
I even got off before
I know,
that.
but
My
then I
last-
was like, okay, I can't watch this anymore.
My
In
last
fact,
episode-
when they pretended to kill off Glenn,
yeah. Well, that was the
that
beginning
for
of that.
me, I was like, okay, so
No,
every death has a consequence, but
Right.
this isn't real. And then they kill him anyway later on. That's when
Yeah.
I was kind of like,
Nah,
you know
but
what?
that-
I
again-
tell you, I really enjoyed I enjoyed that the first few. I mean, that first season was awesome.
The first
because
three,
it was like nothing I've ever seen.
You talk about water cooler. We were all talking about it.
Yeah.
Until the episode where she makes the kids turn and look at the flowers, and she says, "Look at the flowers," and she shoots the kid in the back of the head. I mean, I still use that line on my kids, but I quit after that one. When they get me upset, I go, "Hey, look at the flowers for a second, would you?"
Well, it's funny though, because if you were binging the show,
I wonder if I would have picked
that
it up.
fake out. Well, that fake out of Glenn. Glenn's
under the
Glenn's
dumpster.
dead.
That one
no,
where
he's
he's under
not.
the dumpster.
Right.
Yeah.
That wouldn't bother you as much if you didn't have to wait a week because you knew it was bullshit.
week.
And
That
I
was-
didn't
you had to
read the
wait
comics,
months
but
for that.
The reason why I didn't think it was bullshit because he had all the internal organs around him. They made it look like it was his internal organs. That's
right.
So
No,
it was a real
here's the-
cheat.
But that wasn't
Here's the
waiting
thing,
a
though.
week, if
Here's
you
the thing,
remember.
though.
That was between seasons. That Glenn fake out. That took even longer than a week.
Was that
Yes,
a finale?
you had to
don't
wait.
remember.
Yes.
Well, see, here's the
I
thing.
don't remember that.
I didn't read the
maybe
comics.
I'm wrong, but
I didn't read the comics. I have friends that read the comics, and I have an internet connection. So I knew what happened to Glenn, and I presumed that the show was going to do the same thing. So especially, I mean, that is a comic that has very loyal fans. So I would imagine that's a whole other level of being irritated at the writers for pulling a gag like that, because Glenn's end in the series and in the comics is very dramatic and memorable, and not a random I got stuck under a dumpster.
Back to binging or not to binge, I wonder if I would have got off quicker if I were watching that back to back to back, and the repetitive nature would have shown up quicker. You know what I'm saying?
It probably would have, and I don't know how fast
when you
you
wait a
get
week-
off or you don't get off.
Yeah. Now, speaking of endings, did you watch? I missed it. Did I miss a dirty joke?
Yeah, you did.
You said getting off fast, and I said I don't know how fast you get off. It's not.
Wow.
I don't
Sometimes
judge.
I like your shows. I like to let it last a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
I think that would be appreciated by some people. Absolutely.
I was watching The Sopranos that last night, where everybody in the
Fade
world
to
thought-
black.
No, cut to black. We all thought our cable died, and
Right,
and
we
it
did.
was that holy shit. And then you realize the brilliant move that Chase did. Chase pulled off.
Brilliant.
It was brilliant, and
But
so
infuriating at the time.
very infuriating.
Exactly.
But anyway, so anything else you guys recently before we finish this up?
Well,
And
again, I brought it up on the other podcast, but I got to tell you something. This Longmire show is fantastic, and it started on A&E, and I think it went on there for 3 seasons, and then Netflix took over the production of it. But the lead in it, he's a middle-aged guy. He's 6'5". He's a real cowboy. It's really and
he's Australian, you know.
What?
He's Australian.
Robert Taylor's Australian? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
He's got a gravelly voice. And
he's
what's
good.
her name? The woman from Battlestar Galactica. I don't want to say the
Katie
name.
Sackhoff.
She is awesome in
I
it.
love her.
She's awesome in it. But it's really respectful of the Indian culture, but it's also a badass cowboy show. You know what I mean? He's like badass. He gets the shit kicked out of him every other episode. But it's just if you guys have never watched it, watch a couple of the episodes. And I'm binging that. I'm watching about 4 or 5 episodes a night. Rosie's the one who told me about it 2 years ago, and I was like, I don't know about this. And when Elementary was done, I was like, oh,
now
what can I watch now?
Right.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to watch it. And I was like, wow, this is great.
It's funny.
So,
I just remember
What?
when Sopranos ended. You talk about going from one to the next, right?
yeah.
Right.
When Sopranos ended, I was like, I cannot. I felt guilty, like diving into another show because I spent
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
being monogamous to The Sopranos.
And you
It's
get
like that.
invested in everything.
I got invested, and I
Yeah,
didn't
of
want to.
course.
I couldn't imagine until Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And this was I didn't watch, like I said, I didn't watch it when it was airing. I watched it after, and then I'm on to the next one, the Better Call Saul. You know, I went right from Breaking Bad to that. So, a relationship with series like The Boys, I cannot wait for The Boys to come back out. Okay, but I'm not gonna wait 9 weeks
Yeah,
to
see,
binge it. I'm gonna
wait.
watch. No,
So we can't talk about it on the
no,
show.
but I love hanging that over your head a little bit. So it's fun. Anything else, John? Recently that
No, I
Long-
mean, that's the one. Like I said, I just finished Elementary, and I went back and counted the episodes. I'm going, I just watched 130 episodes in about a 2-week period. I'm like, oh my God. And now the same thing with Longmire. I'm looking at, I think it's 7 seasons, and there's about 11 episodes per season. So it's not as bad. I mean, Elementary had 21 episodes.
And have you
per
noticed
season.
that Lou Diamond Phillips does not use contractions?
Yes, but that's from the book.
I know.
His character,
what
but he's
he
very
said.
good. I mean, he's really good in it.
This
Very good
podcast,
in it.
he was on our Yippee Ki podcast, and he mentioned
Yeah.
that when he told that to the writer was very impressed that he actually read the books and knew that the guy did not use contractions. So
I'll tell you,
pretty cool.
it makes me want to read the books.
cool. That's good.
Yeah.
Drew,
So,
what about
no,
you?
that's-
Anything you've been watching that of
Well,
note?
it's funny because sometimes like something will be coming or is new, and then I kind of want to dig into something in the past, and it could be like, oh, this television series is a remake or something like that. But I have a soft spot for Godzilla movies, the new ones, and haven't
Yeah, the
seen
new-
that many of the older ones because I've seen the original Godzilla. I think when I was a kid, I saw Godzilla in 1985. And maybe I saw one or two others, but I have watched and to varying degrees enjoyed all or some of the MonsterVerse ones. And Godzilla versus Kong is coming out
When
tomorrow.
you I'm sorry. When you say the original Godzilla, are you talking about the Matthew Broderick 1985? Or are you talking about the Japanese?
No, you're talking about the Raymond
that
Burr.
movie. I don't remember any Godzilla movie that came out in 1998, so I don't know what you're talking about.
That was
Yeah.
98.
I don't remember
So you're
any
talking
of
about
that
Raymond
horrible-
Burr. You're talking about
horrible-
okay.
Yeah, the
But did you see-
1954 original.
I gotcha. Okay.
You saw the original, not the Raymond Burr version.
I've seen both.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
But
the Japanese
and
one is much
Raymond
better.
Burr, absolutely, yeah. And Raymond
Yeah.
Burr came back. I think he came back for 1985 to shoot like 4 scenes or something. But
Steve Martin.
HBO
Report of
Max,
Steve Martin.
Yeah, HBO exactly.
That was his
HBO
name.
Max is where you can find Godzilla versus Kong starting tomorrow for a month of what would otherwise be a theatrical release now available at home. But they have a library of Japanese Godzilla movies from different eras, and so I've been watching them, and I am not sure because I haven't seen it yet, but it looks like in Godzilla versus Kong in the trailer you can see a character Mecha Godzilla,
Yeah.
basically a robot
Mecha, yeah.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I don't know if that's a spoiler or not. It's in one of the trailers.
No,
but so
you
I
can see it
said
in
I'm
the
gonna
trailer.
watch. Yeah, I said last night. I said I'm gonna watch the original 1974 G-rated because they're all G-rated, which is just funny. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and they are just silly fun. And it's funny because it's like professional wrestling guys in rubber suits throwing stuff at each other and banging off of each other, and it's silly, but it also, like, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla actually I think has something to say about the relationship between Japan and Okinawa and the mainland.
Yeah.
But who cares? Because it's like a flying robot that shoots missiles out of its fingers and stuff like that. And so it's fun. Like the new Godzilla from 2014 is much more serious, and I actually really enjoyed that. But I'm kind of curious to see where these movies go with their tone because, unlike some of the other stuff we've discussed in this and other shows, Warner Brothers MonsterVerse is actually working. They've actually made now 4 movies that people have gone to see. And in a world where everybody wants a franchise, they've actually got one going. And so I'm curious
And
to see
I'm not a
with
big.
this one.
I've said often I'm not a big CGI guy. I just think it looks cartoony. It's
can.
brilliant what they've done in these monster movies because the battles are epic and the scale is just so gigantic. It works really, and the scenes I've seen from this movie look incredible.
Well, it's good because the scale of those movies is that people don't matter. Not even that monsters want to kill us, but we're too small to matter.
Right.
And that's a
We're
pretty
ants.
intense. Right, it's
Yeah.
a pretty intense sensation in the movies. They deliver it, and that's cool. And
But
plus, this
Gamma
one-
was a friend. Gamma was a friend of the children.
Right. Well, and is it Mothra has 2 little girls that control him
That's
and
right.
stuff like that. But this new one is directed by right, pretty song. This new one is directed by Adam Wingard, and Adam Wingard directed the anthology movie VHS with the horror short anthologies that were all together. He did one of those. He did a really great, like almost like an 80s action movie type of thing called The Guest. Which
saw
is
that.
violent and ridiculous and
good.
fun. And now he's got this gigantic studio movie, which is a big, monster brawl, a kaiju titan brawl. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me
so it's
too.
fun.
All right, Ralph. How about yourself?
Talk about something real quick. Well, I mentioned the documentary, last Blockbuster. If you can catch it on Netflix, you should catch it. It's fantastic.
It was good.
I'll definitely
and
watch
especially
it.
if you're our age and you remember Block. And I was not a big Blockbuster guy because I like the
Whoa,
smaller.
whoa. When you say our age, Ralph, you're basically 60. I mean, I'm
59.
not there.
I can't even get I'm too young and healthy to get vaccinated at this point. It's ridiculous. I can't believe it.
I just qualified
Really?
today. I know the feeling.
Yeah, I think I could
Wow.
use my BMI index. I hear if your BMI's high, you can get it. But
Well,
I don't
listen,
want to.
You should
If
start.
you weigh
you
over
should start
160
smoking.
pounds, you're overweight. I mean, you know what I
but
mean?
that's how
Crazy.
people are getting it, right? They're getting it because I'm 5'6", and I'm sure my BMI is really high, but I don't want to do that.
Well, if not, eat some donuts and then go get your vaccine.
No, I don't have to. I'm telling you, I have the BMI. I just don't want to admit it. So I love that doc. If you can watch it, it's just really nostalgic. We did a lot of the VHS rentals and any rental that we had to go through. It's pretty cool. And they had actors who worked in blockbusters talking about their experience and what they did. It's a blast. And this one is the woman who runs it's pretty cool, and it's a lot of fun. But I wanted to talk about, I hate comic book movies, except there's one series that I love, and that's Suicide Squad. For some reason, I'm fascinated by that. You're
talking about the first movie?
I like the first movie, and I even like Birds of Prey. I like Birds of Prey.
Oh, God.
I did.
The two worst movies in the DC universe.
I don't care about the DC universe.
Oh, my
so now
God.
I've been watching.
Really? Wonder Woman 1984 is better than those two?
Yeah, please.
Okay, that's fair.
Now,
Come on.
Now, I'm bringing this up because I think HBO Max is going to air the new Suicide Squad, directed by
They
They
will
haven't
in
made that
August.
decision yet, I don't think.
Well, it's
No,
interesting.
it's coming out on August 6th, I think.
The reason
Who
I'm
knows
bringing
what
this
will
up is
happen, but
I
that's what
watched
it
the
is.
trailer and I watched a lot of
Yeah.
breakdowns of the trailer, and
Yeah.
I kind of like what they're doing. And you talk about Godzilla, somehow they're bringing in Godzilla's.
Shark.
Yeah, but Godzilla's in this too. They hint
No. It's Starro.
that. Okay, whatever.
It's
Some
not
big
Godzilla.
monster is going to be.
It's
But
a giant galactic starfish.
Okay. The reason I bring it
That's
up
what it
is
is, honest to God.
I think HBO Max is going to charge a premium to watch this film. As I was watching the trailer, I saw a little disclaimer down there that says, even if you're subscribing, I think you might have to pay a little extra to see this film when it comes out. And I think it was the Suicide Squad trailer that I saw.
But why? I mean,
That's what
if you're
Disney.
going to
Well,
do
that's
that,
what Disney Plus is doing, though. Disney Plus is doing that. They just ran a trailer for something, and it's definitely like you have to be a member and also pay $30.
That's right.
And HBO Max and Warner Brothers are not following that model. That doesn't mean that won't change.
I
But
I
but
may
if
be
you're going
wrong.
to do that, wouldn't you have done it for Justice League?
Well,
If you're
yeah, I
going to
would
do
think
something
so.
like that,
Justice League might have been the experiment to see if people are going to watch this stuff.
Well, people they were watching Judas and the Black Messiah. We didn't like it, but we all watched.
No, but
the
those
little
are
things.
one-off films. Those
Well,
are
listen,
not,
as bad
like-
as it was, a lot of people watch Wonder Woman.
Listen,
That's
people
true,
a lot of
watch
people did watch it, but
people are going to watch the black and white version of Justice League too, right? He just put.
do you
that
know
out as
who
well.
the shark is? King Shark?
It's Stallone.
Yeah, it's Stallone.
Yeah. No, did
He
you
does
see
the
the
voice.
trailer? The trailer's fun.
Yeah, yeah. But listen,
But I
It's a
think
lot
I
of fun.
spotted
listen,
somewhere on
if
there.
you
I
look
think it's
at
going to
the
be a
first
premium.
Suicide Squad trailer, which was brilliant.
Yeah, it looks
It
awesome.
was not reflective of the film at all.
I understand the studio. Somebody
That's
got
my
involved in-
fear. They're
I
doing the
understand.
exact same thing.
But that's not the point of this story. Was that I saw this premium thing and I was like a little bit.
I
like,
hope that's not true.
Well-
because you're already paying a premium.
It may
some
be I'm
people
wrong.
for
It
HBO
may be
Max. I hope so.
It may be another trailer I saw, but I swear I saw a little something.
I wouldn't pay
that-
$30 for a movie.
No. Well,
Why
Drew
not?
paid. Drew paid.
I'll
How
be
many
honest,
times?
I think you
Drew,
must be confusing it with the Disney Plus trailer, because that's what Disney does with these releases.
No, this was
And
not
I
a
think
Disney-
that
this-
if there was a change in the Warner Brothers doing that for a movie, that I would expect.
I'll double
that we
check.
would see
I-
that
I-
out
Yeah,
Yeah,
there.
because
swear I saw
I
it now.
you know, yeah, I'm pretty plugged in to like Warner Brothers especially, and I haven't heard anything that they're going to charge a premium. I have not heard that, but I'll look it up, Ralph. I'll see if
Yeah, they didn't.
You know,
They didn't bring it up. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong trailer, but that's the only trailer breakdown I've watched recently. Is the Suicide Squad, and it's. I just find that thing fun. But and someone else was supposed to voice the shark guy, and then Stallone ended up doing all the motion cap, and I guess they used his voice, and it's cool.
He did the motion cap? I didn't know that.
I think he did.
Oh.
So.
And that's
anyway,
James Gunn, who did Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's why I'm
Yes.
interested in it, because
Yeah.
I like the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah,
Guardians
so
of
do
the
I.
Galaxy Volume 2, starring Sylvester Stallone. So
He was in that, right? He was in
And
that.
Kurt Russell.
yeah,
His
he was
ego,
in a
the
small-
living
a
planet.
small part. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Those movies
Yeah,
are a lot
small
of fun.
part. He was Star-Lord's
All right.
dad.
And that was the last thing I'll say is I
Spoilers.
binged.
Oh.
Oops. I binged Escape at Denimora because we were doing Shawshank Redemption for the other podcast John keeps mentioning, which is Yippee-Ki Mother Podcast.
I haven't mentioned it once. I said the other podcast.
And I didn't want to watch Shawshank because I've seen it so many times, and I just don't find it the brilliant film everybody does. And I wanted to watch the real Shawshank, which had a much different ending. So I binged, because I remember it came out on Showtime a few years ago, and I couldn't binge it. And then I just binged it on Netflix and loved it. And Ben Stiller's, and like I was telling you guys earlier, there were scenes in there I forgot that felt fresh to me. And it was just fantastic. So if you get a chance to watch that one, check that one out too.
Well, I have
All right,
noticed
cool.
that as I've gotten older, I can go back and watch more things. Like I can sit down and watch a random episode of 30 Rock. I loved that show. We watched it religiously. I have no recollection of it, so I'm freshly entertained.
That's funny.
It's really kind of
That's good.
kind of disconcerting and really
A little
gets
bit.
me more for my
It's a little
entertainment dollar.
disconcerting. Now, by the
Yeah.
way, you're watching Godzilla is coming out on your birthday?
Tomorrow. Yeah, on his birthday.
Yes, Godzilla versus Kong tomorrow. Yep.
Nice. What
Yeah.
a gift.
My birthday's been good for the movies. The Matrix came out on my birthday.
Oh,
I was
it
like,
did?
that's a
Oh,
good
great
present
movie.
too. Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
The Matrix.
Wow, that
I
changed a
share my
lot, that film.
birthday. I share my birthday with Christopher Walken and Ewan McGregor, and they're honored. I mean, I'm honored to share with such big stars.
They
of
say the
movie
same thing about
business.
you. I share a birthday
I'm
with
sure
Drew
they
Gold.
do. They're like, I know that.
Drew
I know
Gold.
That guy
Look
that
at
looks
that.
Like
He even
Marvin.
gets Drew. He even gets your name wrong.
Oh,
Oh, I heard. Jesus.
Drew,
They're
we're
like,
gonna
I know
call
that
him
guy that looks
Drew.
like Marvin.
We're gonna have to
Hamlish.
put Drew's picture up now.
all right.
That's right. Drew Gould. Gould.
Drew
Like
Gould.
Elliot.
All right, guys.
Like Elliot Gould.
Drew Gould.
This was fun. I
Very
enjoyed
good.
this. This is good.
I used to tell my middle school students, "Don't be fooled, it's Mr. Gould," and then they never screwed it up again. So, John, I'll treat you like a seventh grader.
Yeah, that's when you were hanging around the playgrounds? Is that what you're talking about? When you used to do
No,
that?
I had a short career as a teacher.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I got confused about something else. All
right, let's
This
knock
was
your head-
fun. Good
Yep.
good
This is
second episode.
Yep. So keep on streaming, guys. Keep on watching, whatever you want to call it. Keep watching.
Hit the
keep
subscribe button. Share
Yep.
it. Hit the notification button. If you
And,
like
I
streaming,
I like it.
we're the
This
show
is-
to watch.
This is a free flow. We don't know what we're going to talk about each week, and we kind of just let it
It's
go.
a free-flowing stream.
Free flowing stream. That's perfect. All right, guys.
Sorry, Drew Gould.
It's not my birthday yet. You haven't ruined it.
All right. I'll see you
All
guys.
right, everyone.
Have a good week. See you next week.
See you
Have
guys.
a great week. See you guys
Keep
next
on
week.
streaming. All right, bye.
Keep on streaming, baby.